Hey guys, welcome back to the video. In this video, guys, a spoiler-free review and all of my thoughts on Moon Knight Episode 3. So that's right, we're back. Another week, another episode of Moon Knight. And this week, I'm going to be trying something different. I'm not going to have any notes on the episode. I have nothing in front of me. I'm just going to be talking about my thoughts on random things that happen and see how you guys like this video. Because the first video I did for Moon Knight, it was more of a specific breakdown. Last week's was a normal type of review with stuff that I wanted to go over. But today, I'm just going to be talking about the new episode of Moon Knight. But before you get into it, if you guys are new in here, make sure to hit the subscribe button and notifications on so you don't miss any time I open a video or go live. Also, comment down below your favorite thing from this week's episode of Moon Knight. Without wasting more time, let's get into it. So I have to say right off the bat, I did love the action this episode. I think this is the best Moon Knight action we've ever gotten. And I also love the switch between the suit and the other suit, like the actual suit and then Mr. Knight. And I thought it was really creative the way that they actually pulled off a lot of the parts of the fight itself, how they switched between Mr. Knight and Moon Knight himself, and also Layla's inclusion in the fight. I actually thought it was really well utilized, and honestly just balancing in all fronts, like not making it super duper gory but still having enough blood. I will say this episode, the first 10 minutes was a lot darker than I thought it would. The first 10 minutes was where basically Mark and Steven were still fighting over the body, and Mark actually ended up like killing 3 dudes, and then one of the kids basically like cuts the tie off him so he falls and kills himself. I'm 99% sure that's probably Jake Lockley, but again, I'm not too big into the Moon Knight comics. I don't know much about his lore, and so I don't know what exactly like separates them in terms of their combat. I know that Jake Lockley is a taxi driver. I know stuff like that. I know that general information, but I don't know how violent he is compared to the other 3 personalities, I would say. So I don't know if that's him, but obviously it wasn't Mark or Steven because they had no idea what was going on. So I'm excited to see what future identities are chosen, and I think that they're obviously teasing more identities. Other than that, I still will say the first 10 minutes just absolutely phenomenal. I think it's the best 10 minutes of the entire show, I would say, is the first 10 minutes of this episode, or honestly, I could even say like the 10 minutes within the fight scene, like that whole 10-minute area, that was really good. I actually love also that the episodes have all been over 50 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. This one was 52, last week's was 52. I think the premiere was like 53. So that's great to see. It feels like these episodes are very long in the best way possible. Like they feel very well paced. It doesn't feel like they're staying on one thing for too long. Like we got so much in this episode in terms of Mark himself, and obviously this just felt like an origin story, or kind of, I guess, revisiting the origin of Mark Spector, since obviously we weren't following him in the beginning, we were following Steven. So for example, literally there was one scene on a boat where Mark and Layla are going like to that place where they have that big fight at the end, and we get just some little background information on their marriage and how everything went down and stuff like that. It was a cool small little moment, but it felt like it gave us so much characterization for Mark, which I really enjoyed. Another great moment from this episode, and I think what makes these episodes feel like they're that runtime, that 52 minutes, in the best way possible, is that there's so much that happens. Like there's so many different things that happen. Like we had that whole thing with the gods, which is really cool, like the court of gods kind of deciding what to do with Khonshu, and then they come back at the end of the episode and they basically banish Khonshu for changing the sky, but changing the sky was necessary obviously for the treasure hunt type of thing. I will say I do think the show is going more into the treasure hunt territory, which honestly I actually enjoyed this. I think I'm gonna enjoy the first half of this show more, especially if they dive super deep into the treasure hunt thing the next 2 episodes, because obviously we only have 3 episodes left. I'm assuming that the next 2 episodes will probably be some treasure hunting, and Amit will be released in the middle or at the end of the 5th episode, I'll say, and then the 6th episode will be Amit, and then maybe Khonshu will even come back and we'll get a big fight and stuff like that. So I'm excited for that whole aspect of it. I just really feel like the whole treasure hunt thing, I think it might be too forced, especially like the transition between this and the treasure hunt. I think it'll be fine. I just feel like for what we have right now is kind of like trying to get the lore and trying to find everything out. I'm enjoying that a lot. Yeah, going back to the whole god court thing, I think that's so cool. It builds up so much lore. Like I didn't know any of the gods they were talking about, and they still seemed really interesting, and so I'm excited to do more research on all of this Egyptian lore and all that kind of stuff. I also think it's interesting about Khonshu's whole reputation, where even Arthur Harrow, just a normal dude that used to be his avatar, can go ahead and basically control what happens to Khonshu, like how much power Arthur Harrow really has when he's really just a normal dude now. But now to talk specifically about that ending, obviously again it leads us into the whole treasure hunt aspect of the show, and I remember whenever the show was first coming out, there was this promo that where they said it's a mix of National Treasure and Fight Club. Club, and that sounds absolutely awesome to me. And I can definitely see those aspects coming into the show, and I can't wait for them to flesh it out even more. Obviously, at the end of this episode, they find that they have to kind of find the night sky of the night that the constellation chart was made. They turn back the sky, and then obviously Khonshu gets imprisoned into the stone, like they talked about earlier in the episode. And it seems like Arthur Harrow is pretty close with those gods, or I guess the avatars of the gods that are inside of the Pyramid of Giza, I think it's called. So it seems like there's going to be big connections. I do think there's going to be some side of maybe like corruption that's uncovered within all of these different, this like god court, maybe, because I'm thinking why would Arthur Harrow even be so close with all of them if there's not something suspect about it. But you guys, that's it for this video. Those are all of my thoughts on Moon Knight episode 3. If you guys enjoyed these videos where it's like completely not scripted and just talking to the camera, giving my random thoughts on the episode, make sure to drop a like rating down below so I know to do more of these. Let me know your favorite moment from this week's episode of Moon Knight in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.